Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Silent Podcast, where we're going to be covering Survivor South Africa, episode 14. Yes, so we're on episode 14. I can't believe it. I'm your host, Sasha Joseph, and I'm joined by my co host, my podcast alliance, Jason. How are you?
Hey Sasha, I'm doing really well. I'm excited to be back talking about this season of Survivor that we both love. And I'm
Yes.
even more excited that you let me share the exciting news that our podcast is now officially sponsored by Chappie's Diner. We are promoting their new special of mussels, crabs with stolen rice. It's best served at night.
God.
And when you order
Not
it, please
this.
put Sasha Jason in as the promo code because
Yes.
it helps us grow our show.
I've lost it. And it's available everywhere. You
Worldwide.
get takeout. Yeah, obviously it's worldwide because this podcast is worldwide. And obviously you have to supply your own salt, pepper, spices separate, like
You have to make your own fire, but once we'll give you the ingredients.
yeah, you're gonna, listen, like Kieran said, Chappie's, we're gonna get you the calories, and we'll do the work for you. Chappie's Diner, rather, we'll do the work for you, and you're gonna get your crabs, you're gonna get your mussels. You don't have to spend your calories like finding it or foraging for it. I can't. This Chappie's Diner is a hot mess, and I can't wait to talk about it. But before that, Jason, I just want to say I cannot believe Kieran is out. What the hell? I really thought he was gonna win. Oh my God, I'm blindsided, and I let myself be blindsided.
I feel the same way. A few weeks ago, I really thought Kieran was going to win this game. He was doing everything right. And in this episode, unfortunately, it just didn't work out. He was down in the numbers, and he admitted that, which I actually really appreciated this transparent episode so we could give a proper sail off to Kieran and acknowledge the great game that he played because he brought it. And what he said at the end in his final words just really broke my heart, and how he hopes to be remembered as one of these people who never had the chance to win and to acknowledge the great game that he played. And he brought it. We were so lucky to see someone like him play.
Exactly. One, Kieran should not feel any, shame, any down about his game, except that it just didn't work out. I think folks just understood, his threat level. But outside of that, I really think he did such an amazing job. Like for me personally, to see someone that literally looks like me on screen, killing it again. I talk about this all the time, not be an annoying stereotype, actually make things happen and, really push through it all and really just dominate everything. And I'm so sad to see him go where I know he's going to come back, but I really thought he was going to do it.
And I also think it speaks to the caliber of the rest of the castaways that they were able to identify Kieran and Tyson as this unbreakable duo and split them up. Because if they had the cast of Ghost Island, it would be a tie at Final Tribal between Kieran and Tyson because they wouldn't have 100% on them.
Egg is 100%. That's what I feel. And I also want to say I didn't realize until this episode that Kieran's job is literally a strategy consultant. So it all adds up. What a perfect cast. And I want to say again, in general, what a amazing casting Survivor South Africa has done. So, Kieran deserves, like I said, all his flowers because just what a strategic beast. And he was able to, win a few challenges as well. It's not like he only, went out on just strategy. I feel like he was such a good all around player. And, I'm so sad that he's gone. I really am.
And I feel the same way. I would love just to hang out with Kieran, get a beer and talk about Survivor because he's a big fan just like we are. And I just want to thank him. I hope he hears this for playing such a great game. Everything.
Seriously. And it's just, oh my God, it's so funny because he was cracking because once the armor was off at Tribal, he was cracking so many jokes. So you could tell that he's actually a really funny person too. Yeah. It's not just go, go, go or game bot all the time, which is I'm so frustrated. I hope we get to see a bunch, like, I know they do exit press, but I mean like actual interviews and him like talking through his game in length. So I really hope so, because like, what a guy, man. What a guy. But with that, and we'll get more into like his actual game, but I feel like we do need to talk about that. And also, we miss you, Santony. Oh, just first episode without her. How weird.
But she was looking great on the jury.
I loved her socks. And I know you love socks, so I know that was a great connection between the two of you. But anyway, so we're in night 33. I can't believe we made it here. And Tyson is like, you shouldn't have played the idol, ma'am. Why did you do it? But it's okay. Now I got Fire Idol to my resume, so it's fine. And then Tyson's also talking about Santony's gone and Chappie's is next. And the only way to beat him is by beating him at a challenge, which to me is like the umbrella for this whole episode. And I feel like now this whole end game is just like, if you can't beat Chappie's at, immunity, it's a wrap for you. You're going home.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I agree. This really did ring true throughout the episode. We constantly heard them saying, we have to beat Chappie's.
Mm-hmm.
And I am happy, at least they're finally giving him the respect he deserves for winning so many individual challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're saying that now they're acknowledging they can't beat him.
Exactly.
Maybe they have to work together to beat him. Maybe if they could like do a 2-on-1 in a challenge and team up, they could beat him. But I don't think it's possible.
No, 100% no. Which is like, again, like I said, it's a bummer. We love Chappies, but it's more that like, it's really important for me, to, really like talk through, like the challenges. And I know we'll get into it, but like, I am not a fan, of like any one person dominating like physical challenges, but like thankfully at least we love Chappies. So I guess. But anyway, and then Kieran tells us Anela starts apologizing to Kieran. So how did you feel about that? Like whole League of Shadows, all of this stuff, Jason?
The League of Shadows has broken apart. They have severed ties, and Anela is just thinking he can apologize.
Yeah.
And everything's going to be okay. And he said, oh, well, I still got the outcome I wanted because I wanted Santony out. But he sure went about it the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel he really looked like a fool in the last episode. And we hear him acknowledge he made mistakes later on in this episode.
Yeah.
But I wish we would have seen Kieran and Tyson really like dig deep into him.
Mm-hmm.
And scold him for playing that way. Or Nicole would have done more of scolding because Anela's backed into a corner. He would have to work with Nicole no matter what.
100. And that's what I mean, where I was just like so confused by all of this. And I really was trying to do some math. Like, so what if they did vote Anela out? Santony would still be in here. To me, it would have, how I personally would have seen it is like, then it would have been a 2-2 with Nicole being still the middle person, so it didn't really matter, unfortunately. But yeah, I just feel like it's weird that Anela's still here, and like I can see himself making a good case at jury, and these bitter Bettys, might not want to give Chappies the win. But anyway, so the point is that like it's gonna be interesting. We see, this episode, how it's really turning out to be Anela's like episode, and now like he's they're giving him currently, right, the edit of like getting Kieran out. Like they are giving him that.
And I thought it was interesting when Kieran said more than once in this episode, I can easily forget, but I won't easily forgive.
Exactly.
And I was hoping that would be foreshadowing to later in the episode when he really like hammered into Anela.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he does that on the jury.
And he
doesn't forget.
I think that, again, Kieran's a really smart player, so I don't think it makes the most sense for him, right? Like, I think him and Tyson are like, like talking about like one-on-one, like, I can't believe him. He's so frustrated, all of that. But then I think when it's time to like, it's game face on. And I don't think you can like drag Anela to his face because you still need him in a certain way. And then, we get to the next day where Kieran, is talking about, I don't want Anela to get to the end. We still, is, mad about that. And then Tyson is like, yeah, this shit is done. I love Tyson so much. Like, he's just such a good character. And I don't think he's trying to be funny. I think that's why I like him even more.
And especially, I think his sense of humor is coming out due to his tight friendship with Kieran.
Yes.
He's lowered his guard with Kieran, and that's given us some of the best conversations this season because it's them just like shooting the shit, joking around with each other, not having to like carefully choose their words because one of their opponents is standing right there. They have nothing to hide.
Yeah. And then I love that they're like, can't believe Chappies is right. Of all the people, that Anella is the biggest flip-flopper in the game. Like, again, this cast is so self-aware and they're very understanding of like where all the pieces lie, I feel. I don't know about you.
I agree. And it just cracked me up that they were acknowledging Chappies was finally right. Because Anella is a flip-flopper. He flips, he flops, he flips back, and that's the only reliable thing about him.
Yeah. And then, then Kieran says, yeah, we need to keep him close, obviously. And then they talk about how Nicole is now the number one person I think they want to keep. And then I think Kieran's like, Anella's number 2. And then he said, Chappie somewhere getting crabs. So bye. Like, I don't even want to deal with him. I could not. I was just like, Kieran, that drag him. And then we finally get this Anella Chappies like conversation where they're now like, actually, Kieran does need to go. I messed up last week. I should have got Kieran out, but I didn't. So here we are. What do you think about all of this? Because this is kind of, I feel like, again, the setup for where Anella is finally understanding where he messed up last week.
For a moment, I thought I was experiencing deja vu. As just in the last episode, we saw a conversation between Anella and Chappies when Anella says, we have to get Kieran out.
Yes.
And so I was happy that Anella's like still on that thought that he hasn't, moved the target onto Tyson. And he realized, well, Chappies, I have to play your game. I have to win challenges or I'm going to be a target. Let's work together. I also thought it was interesting in this moment when Anella told us that he has to draw a line in the sand. And the time is now for him to determine what he's going to do. And I felt he was just, lying to us. Why would he stick with Tyson and Kieran at this point in the game? The only logical move for him is to stick with Nicole and Chappies. So the line is like in permanent Sharpie in the sand. Like it's stuck there. He's not going to the other side of it. And I felt he was like, just like giving us this fakeness, like really reminded me of Derek and BB16. I can't think of a Survivor reference to compare him to. So that's why I was pausing because in Survivor, they just tell it how it is. Yeah. They don't lie to the audience.
Yeah. And that's what's really interesting, right? Where I feel like Anella, this is what I'm thinking, just maybe to like play, not devil's advocate, but understand another side of it. Where is it that like Anella is like, well, if I take Kieran and Tyson to the end, they split a lot of the votes and I get, and somehow I wiggle my way through. Like that's the only, I feel like, thing that, maybe is a reason why you go with the 2, but like, because Kieran and Tyson have played basically the same game. They're like this, Varda can only vote for one person. Anesu can only vote for one person, right? And like Marisha, is she gonna, I feel like I could be wrong. Like I said, we only know of her, what we've seen on screen. But, I could see Marisha voting for Anella over the 2, right? So that, and Sean, I don't know, because Sean's a little, we know Sean is bitter. Not bitter, but I think he remembers a lot. So that's my only, I think, rebuttal for like Anella to go with the other 2.
I think that's a really good point. I didn't even think about the possibility of Tyson and Kieran splitting votes and Anella picking up the rest. Maybe he should have articulated that to us.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that he's not a Laurel, right? Like where it's like, a Dom, like where Wendell and Dom, right, like got all the votes. I don't think it's that situation. I do think that he has a leg to stand on. And, especially socially. I think he's like maneuvered enough, right, to like not be those Zambas that got voted out, basically. Yeah. So I will say that part. So that's what I'm just like thinking about. Like, would there have been a way? And I think we'll have a lot of the answers when the jury starts like their questioning, so we'll know where they lie in their like bitterness, in their like, you know, need of like remembering things, all of it, and like who's allegedly the puppet master, injury. So let's see. Let's see. I don't know yet. And then we do get a fake. Oh, not fake. We then get a Kieran and Nicole segment of like, you know, I apologize. You know, like we were working against you, but you were kind of working against us. But you know, even if you don't want to work with me, I'll still take you to the end. Which I was like, Kieran, what the hell?
What I loved most about this conversation is when he says, Anella flipped on me, Anella flipped on you, Anella flipped on himself. So we have to come together to get to the end.
Which again, I don't think is wrong. I think they're correct in that, like, I know maybe we should talk about this in like when it's tribal time, but I think like, does it make more sense? Because if they would have voted Anella out, right? Like Nicole has no choice. She doesn't like chappies. So does it then become a 2 versus 2 moment, or is it still a, yeah, like does it become a 2 versus 2? Does chappies vote Anella out with Tyson and Kieran? I don't think so. I think this is better for chappies, but still.
I think Tyson and Kieran should have voted out Anella in the last tribal, knowing that Nicole would work with them as the 3 to Santini and Chappie's minority.
Yep.
I think that was an error in Kieran's judgment.
I very much agree with that. Because again, I think that Nicole we saw, right, when she was talking to her brother, she doesn't like Santini and Chappies, so she would have had, again, no choice. But anyway, and then, and the food thing, I think, really bothers all of them, especially Nicole, too.
Especially her.
Yeah. And then, we get a Tyson and Anella thing saying, like, blah, 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 we're so good, I trust you. And then I love how Tyson's confessional is like, he serves me no purpose. His only purpose is to give me a vote. I think he's so funny. I want to be Tyson's friend.
And I love that he's just keeping it real with us. He is telling us everything he thinks, and he's just at that point in the game where he has no F's left to give. He's just going to tell us everything he thinks about Anella and
exactly.
Chappies.
Yep. And then, Chappies, of course, is not, he talks about how he's not going to take Tyson and Kieran to the end. And did I hear this wrong where he said, like, I think I have won already because I'm taking Nicole and Anella to the end?
I don't know if he said it in those exact words.
Right. Okay.
He
I might have
strongly alluded to it. And his pitch to Nicole of saying, if I don't win immunity, you're next. So we have to work together. We would be so, it would be so like magical if we get to the end together, you versus me, and then we'll bring Anella.
And I think they're underestimating Nicole's jury votes.
I was just about to say that. I think he is strongly underestimating Nicole. I think all of the men are, because we are seeing this time after time. Even though she's not winning the challenges, she is giving it 200%. And they are constantly acknowledging that. I think that will get her some jury votes.
Yep, I think so too. And they might get an anti-Chappies vote. I don't know. But that's, again, oh my God, it's going to be wild. Like, jury is going to be wild. And then, that's kind of the end of it. And then we get to the reward challenge where Nico is loves Nicole because he's like, the rose between the thorns. Why? Like, this is not something to applaud that you're the only woman left. Like, it's not the game is flawed if there's only one woman left to 4 men.
I completely agree with you on that sentiment. And I also strongly believe that was a predetermined line before the season started of, we will say this whenever the last woman is remaining. Yep. Because the game is flawed, they know women would be in a disadvantage at this point in the game. And I believe he would have said that about Santini or Nessu. Or even if it was just one man left with 4 women, which is what I thought how the season was going to end.
100%. That's what it's just like, I don't know. It's really frustrating. And like, we'll talk more again about it I know I'm jumping all over the place in the challenge where I was pissed. But still, it's just like, and then Kieran is also talking about, gone are the days of conscientious votes. It's individual game. It's been, sir. It's been. And if you and Tyson didn't show yourselves to be such a big, duo and such a strong duo, maybe there would have been a chance.
Yeah. We also got to meet Chappie's 3.0 in this
3.0.
3.0, sorry.
That was my favorite. I was like, I actually wrote out 3.0 because I was like, no, I need to remember that it's not 3.0 the way he said it.
And I really think that's an inside joke between him and some of his friends from home.
It must
like, just
be.
wait for me to say this, because who says 3.0?
Chappies, okay, chappies, that's who. And then he's talking about, I have war paint on, I'm ready, I have no choice, which we hear it every time, where it's like, if I don't win, I'm out, I don't win, I'm out, I don't win, I'm out, like, and he's right, obviously, don't get me wrong, right. But I was just like, my God, sir. And then also the reward is steak and mash. I think it's a good reward, but like, didn't that steak look dry as hell, or is that just me?
Yes, it did. It had been sitting out all day. I also, another thing that stood out to me in this reward is you get wine, but if you're so inclined, you also get soft drinks. And I wrote in my notes, like, ew, like, I want fresh water.
Yes,
or like
I agree with you.
Ice. Like, soda is not good for you in general, especially when you're on Survivor. And that's not a reward from where I come from.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Because it, like I said, it doesn't make sense. And why do you want that kind of like soda and wine in your system? When you're already like, there's probably so many, because you can't eat as well. So I know that there's a lot of like gases, right, in your stomach, like a lot of acid, right, because you don't have a lot of food. So yeesh.
Yeah, this steak reward also gave me flashbacks of Papa Joe Del Campo in Co Wrong, who had to be medevaced after winning a very similar reward to this final five.
Here we are, people. And then the challenge starts. It's like a fun to look at challenge, I will say. I like the like buckets have to go. It's really colorful, and I think, do you think Chappie's has an advantage, I guess, in this because he's so tall? Because I actually made a note of being like, he's so freaking tall.
I 100% think he has an advantage in this challenge, in the immunity challenge. Probably in all future challenges, just because of his size. He's a solid 4 or 5 inches taller than anyone else. His arms are so much longer. Yeah. And these type of challenges just suit him better than someone who might be shorter.
And I feel like the way he was scaling up, like, Kieran, I will say, it was pretty neck and neck. And it's interesting because he was pretty neck and neck in the immunity challenge too with Chappies. And then Anella all of a sudden like got their front, but still like, so you can see that there is a way, but like I believe that and I know people have talked, this is not a hot take, it's coldest take of life, but that like they need to start figuring things out for height. Like I feel like it's not fair. And it can't be that hard, to like cut off a few inches off of wood.
Especially because they do it for some challenges. Why not do it for all challenges?
Yeah. Like to me, it doesn't, like someone like Chappies is probably still going to win because he is physically just stronger. He has more food in him, whatever the reason may be. It looks like he's still going to win. So why not just make it a little bit even for everyone? Like, and for us as a viewer to not feel so frustrated, looking at that, to be like, well, I want to enjoy the wins of my faves, and like, I don't want it to be like Kieran won against all odds and Tyson won against all odds. Like to me, that's not fun. It's good TV for some time, but at a certain point you're like, no, I want my faves to have a chance to win also.
But I did love this challenge. To my memory, this is a brand new challenge, something that was, like you said, beautiful to watch with the colors, the water going down. I felt watching this, I would really struggle at this. I think this would be a very hard challenge to complete, and they made it look so easy.
Yeah, I very much agree with you, because I think like, imagine finding the like right, like the right angles. I had to rewatch it because I was like, wait, how did they like know so quickly that where the water goes? Like, and then I realized, they did the buckets first and then the like water, but it was still, I don't know. I was just like, this is so crazy. And as a short person, like, it was giving me anxiety.
It reminded me of something that we would see in the show Big Brother. Just with like the fun of it and the water dripping. I think this challenge would be more suited for that show.
Oh, I like that a lot. And like it would be one of those like endurance where they could actually make it like you get a little
Oh, like a cup of water to
cup
carry and drip
instead
over.
of, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But they can't do that, of course, to survivors because, like, my God, they only have this much energy. Anyway, so yeah, of course, Chappie's Kieran and Chappie's were neck and neck, but Chappie's buckets drop. He wins reward. Like it again, it was so quick where you just kind of get the bucket and then you walk over and unlock. Like it's not like there was a puzzle or something at the end. He wins sustenance in the game, and Nico says, "Look like the war paint worked." Stop it, Nico. Don't play favorites like this. Oh God. And then this is where I appreciate Tyson. I don't know if it's like, that Tyson's like, I'm at a disadvantage. Let me just not be annoying anymore. Or that like what Chappie said about Tyson being rude to him like did sink in. But Tyson does say, listen, I don't want to take anything away from his win. Like he's on a hot streak right now and he deserves that, which I just appreciate. I think that was a nice thing for Tyson to say. And I don't think he needed to say it. I really don't.
I agree. This stood out to me as well. And I think it is the latter of what you were saying. Once Chappie's checked him and said, you are disrespecting me at every chance you get. I think Tyson has been going above and beyond to try to be nicer to Chappie's. Well, even if not nicer, more respectfully.
Exactly.
He's still not being nice, but he is giving Chappie's the respect that Chappie's deserves.
Exactly. Because he is winning. Like, and that's the truth. Like, listen, like, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? Like, it's very much that moment where, like, unfortunately, someone like Chappie's is going to do well in these challenges. Like I said, I think a lot of other stuff is up for debate, which we'll get into. But like currently, like I feel like I don't see how Chappie's doesn't win out because he's just because of his height, let alone anything else. And like his swimming skills are out of this world. We've been known that too.
Fire making he has on lock.
Right, exactly. So like, come on. And then Nicole, so then one person can come with you on the reward. So of course, Mr. Food has to pick the second Mr. Food. And Anella is picked, of course, to go because he says you got beat up in tribal a lot. So let's get together and talk about it. We love that.
But I loved Chappie's approach when he said, I'm going to stop talking about game and try to create a soul-to-soul bond. I want to speak to his heart so he is open to working with me and a little bit of sweets.
You know what this reminded me of? Probably because I just watched San Juan del Sur, right? Not that long ago. But when Natalie takes John and Jackie on the Jacqueline on the reward,
the mattress reward.
The mattress reward, where I was just like, this is what it reminded me, where it's like, let me, calm you down and then slit your throat. But unfortunately, no, that wasn't the case. He like really just wanted to be friends with him. And then the reward is at camp, which is so shady.
Yeah, this was kind of a letdown to me. They had to, walk across the beach to have this meal, but it was far enough away that they couldn't see what was happening. Because I thought their lie was going to get bursted when they got back to camp.
Yeah, because and Nicole like does not look happy. Like I made that note, and then we get a Nicole confessional saying, like the carbs, I need it. Like we all need it, honestly. Yeah. And then, I also appreciate Chappie's like, really breaking the barriers on toxic masculinity to say, like, let's get emotional. Let's like talk through all of this. And we know that Chappie's like, this is his job, right? Like this is actually what he does for a living. So like, I get it. And then, he's like trying to get to know him. And then did you see how much salt Chappie's put?
So that was in my notes. That's disgusting. Chappie's, I've been riding with you all season, but if you put that much salt on anything, something is wrong with you.
I was just like, what? Like, and I can say, like, I understand that they're not getting any salt anywhere, but like, oh my God. But like, how can that steak taste good?
With all that salt, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh. And like I'm Indian. I love spice. Like to me, like salt and pepper does not equal spice. That's just like the bare minimum to me. Like, like to me, put at least 2 or 3 other things, on top of it. So even I was like, gasp. Like that is a lot.
And it was the salt on top of the gravy.
Yes.
If it had been before the gravy or if he wasn't having the gravy, I might understand it more. But he was just like adding more salt on top of salt. Only to the meat. It didn't seem like he was adding the salt to the potatoes, which is what naturally needs salt.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, when I get mashed potatoes, because they're my favorite, and maybe some of the only things I can eat at some restaurants, but like when I get mashed potatoes, I definitely have to add salt and pepper to that. But I've never had gravy at a restaurant, so I couldn't tell you. But like, oh my God, I thought that the salt broke and that it fell out on the steak. But then I was like, no, I really think this man like poured it like that. Tell us, Chappies.
But did
Salt
Chappies
baked.
love it or what? Because he was making these noises that Anella said, oh, no wonder he's expecting a child. This killed me. This was like
Anella's
rare form of
crazy,
Anella.
and I loved it. Anella is like living his, like I said, he's playing house money too.
Oh yeah,
because he's just like laughing, giggling. Like I feel like his confessionals, like he just looks brighter. Like there's like something from within, maybe because he sees Endgame for himself.
yeah. I also loved in
that's
this moment when Anella admitted he made a mistake. He said that he botched the plan, and it was such a good decision to vote Kieran out then, and it's an equally great decision to vote him out today.
Period.
And I just love that he was owning his mistakes, like we heard in the last tribal council. And so I was happy to see like the follow-up of that he's still owning the mistake that he made.
Exactly. 100% agreed. And then, so Anella kind of is like, this is what I'm gonna do. I promise, like, I'm gonna do it because he also understands that him and Chappies are playing such contrasting games that like, and Chappie says, we'll make it hard for the jury. But I think Anella is like, no, like, I think I can win. Like, I have a chance against you.
And Chappies feels the exact same way. I think he played that situation right, being like, oh, Anella, we'll make it so hard for you.
Yeah, 100%.
And each of them thinking they're going to sweep the other person.
Which I don't know. I feel like, again, Nicole might sweep because of this. I'm like, wow. I have so many questions. And then, Nicole wins. No, nothing against Nicole, but it's just like, come on, please. Kieran needs to win, or Tyson, or Chappies, obviously. And then Chappies, knows like he's most likely, like Anella is most likely to flip to greener pastures. So he was like, emotions are nice, and that's why I called him. But also, I need this man to flip, bro. I need him to do it, and I think he'll do it. So, even if you don't win, I'll vote with you, is what Anella says. Or if you don't win, something like that, which I was like, what? And then Chappie says, use someone, that has been your enemy to vote out your other enemy, which I was like, yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my best friend, for sure.
And we did hear Anella say, like, this is all great. He gave me food. We're broing down. But at the end of the day, I'm doing the move that's in the best interest of me. Best 100%. Showing us he is the ultimate flip-flopper, and that he's doing it really well. He also, I think Anella made his best move of the season on this board when he said to Chappies, let's tell him we had to share a plate.
Oh, we can still my later. Like I said, food 1 and food 2. Like that's what the two of them are. So, it's like you use your powers for good or you use your power for evil. Very much evil here. But did I expect anything less? No. I think it was amazing. As the Survivor expert, like, do you remember this happening before?
I've never seen
it. Yeah, like I feel like I haven't either.
And I still think, even though they didn't show it, that Anella and Chappies probably put some of those roasted vegetables in their pockets to eat later on. Because you can't do that with mashed potatoes, but you can do that with the
well, you never know with Chappies. He put rice at the bottom of his bag, so like.
But it was creative, so I got to give him points for that.
Yeah. And anyway, so I love that idea because they come back and they're like, we have to share one plate, which is like, why did anyone buy this? That's what I want to know.
And they bought it so much. As Kieran told Nicole, Kieran tells Tyson, and Tyson's like, so does that mean we have to give them food for dinner?
Tyson like, is me, because that would have been me. Oh my God. He was like, so what do we do about the rations? Do we actually have to give it?
We also learned in this interaction that Kieran has a new job title. He is now the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Rice. He is in charge of the rations. If only he had taken this role on earlier on in the season, Warda wouldn't have had to steal the rice.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's just, I don't understand. Like, just because you're the mayor, not mayor, just because you're the finance minister, whatever of this, like, what is stopping Chappies? Like, do you sleep with the rice between your legs? Is my question.
Yeah, this is also the first time that I can remember in Survivor history that the people who win rewards are not offered rice when they get back later on for meals later that day or the next day. They're like, you ate enough on the reward. You don't deserve the rice.
Yeah, I think we've not seen it in the same way, at least, because
Not like
again, I
this.
think they're like super pissed at Chappies, which like I said, I don't know that it's like 100% wrong. I just think it's like 70% they're wrong. Like I do think that there is like some validity to, like, it's annoying when someone steals your rice. But Chappies is like, I feel like done, stealing also, because he's like, cool, I'm not gonna get the rice. I'm gonna just do my own thing. Why are they mad at all this? Because now he said, welcome to Chappie's Diner. It's crab for supper. I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't either. Chappies is going out there. He is catching food that he is eating. Nothing is stopping anyone else from
Yeah.
going there in low tide to catch the crabs. He is the only one that's taking the ingenuity to go and like forage for food. They're just like suffering with small portions of rice, which makes no sense to me.
None whatsoever, because and Nico, right, like, talks about this later to say, like, but why aren't y'all doing this? And Kieran's argument about, like, well, the calories we lose trying to find it, is the same as the but then why are you mad at Chappies for eating? Because his calorie then intake is zero also. Like, why didn't Chappies say that? Like, right, if I were Chappies, I'd be like, okay, so my calorie intake is zero. Like, why are you mad at me? But I
I
think he
think,
needed Santony there to
yeah,
say that.
and
I
I
don't
think
think
in that
Chappies is
moment
the
he was
one.
trying to like curry favor with the jury and didn't
That's
want to like throw
true.
Kieran under the bus again.
Yeah. That's true.
But
That's true.
when we get to Chappie's Diner, I loved that Anella's telling us, him and Kieran are awake. They're looking for the pots. They're like, oh, Chappie's thinks we're all asleep.
I know.
And they just like lurk through the shadows to pop up. And he's like, hey, bud. Like, how
Can
scared
you?
would you be if you were in the jungle in complete silence and it's like someone popped up out of the bushes at you?
No, the camera literally pans to them, and then Anella's like just smiling, just like, and then that's like nightmare fuel, I will say, because then he goes, "Hey, what?" And then he goes, no, and then yeah, and then they're talking. Well, what's going on? Chappies goes, "Do you want to eat?"
Which was so polite.
He's so unfazed by any. Why didn't they eat it? I would have taken it.
I would, if I was Anella and then Kieran pops up, you didn't see me. I would have eaten all of Chappie's food. If he had the audacity to make this at night to offer it to you, I would have not stopped and said,
I would have
"Give
been
me,
like,
give
thank
me more,
you.
give me more."
Yeah, I'm so surprised. Like I said, I think it's like their pettiness is getting in their own way, because if I would have found him, I would have been like, so you want to share, or are you just gonna eat yourself? Like, what's going on?
And
And
something
again,
else. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say something else about this and their animosity to Chappies for always searching for food. I actually saw Chappies posted on Instagram explaining how he learned how to catch mussels and crabs
Yes.
because Marisha taught him, told him, look for crabs in the low tide. This is how you catch mussels. If Marisha was able to teach Chappies, who she was not working with, this plan, why couldn't, and what is stopping Nicole from catching those crabs? Because her and
Mm-hmm.
Marisha were buddy buddy. And so Nicole could
Exactly.
be doing this for everyone else or
And
any of them.
that's what I hope, rather I should say, Chappies brings up, but since he posted it on Instagram, I'm assuming he's not going to bring it
Yeah.
up, which is unfortunate, because I think that's another way of Chappies being like, my social game, I used it to, like, which is outwit, right? Like, I use my social game to get me food, blah blah blah, right? All of that. So just, again, I just feel like Chappies maybe is not the guy with the clapbacks all the time. Like, I think that's him and Santony together, like, do
Yeah.
that.
And
But then Chappie says, well, that's a bummer. Yeah.
Kieran's assessment of this really irritated me when he's like, I'm so
Yeah.
glad Anella was here to witness Chappie's character. Like, he offered
Mhm.
them food. To me, that's showing good character.
You should have taken it. That's the thing. And I know that Chappies maybe wasn't being 100%, but who cares? You're literally starving. Kieran, like, won't let anyone eat, right? Like, a lot of
Yeah.
food. So what's the issue? Like, just eat it. Like, I don't know. This, like, there's a time to be like moral and righteous, and then there's a time to like win. And I think like this, you just hurt yourself.
And in this moment,
Yeah,
Chappie's is catching his own food and then making it when everyone else is racing.
exactly.
He's not stealing from anyone else. He's not taking rewards other people won.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just don't understand why they have so many issues with this. But maybe we'll find out later on in the season.
Yeah, don't even get me started, if I'm being honest with you. Like, it's just, that is the part where I'm not understanding, and that's the part where I feel like I wish Chappies would like hammer home a little bit more, where he's like, you know what, I messed up. I shouldn't have taken the rice. I apologize. And that's why I started doing my own thing that Marisha helped me with, because I talked to her, even though she didn't like me. I still, had her teach me this. And that's what I'm doing. And when I got, when they showed up, I offered them food, but they didn't take it. So what more do you want me to do? Because I don't have enough energy to forage for everyone. I only have enough energy to forage for me.
And I can only imagine Warda's reaction on the jury, hearing Chappies be like, they caught me and I offered them food. And they said no. Because Warda would have taken that food. Everyone should have, not just Warda. Anyone, Tyson would have, Nicole would have. I don't know why Anella and Kieran didn't.
I think Anella would have, which is also weird because we know Anella like loves food.
Yeah, protein bars.
Yes. I'm telling you, the math was not mathing. It was weird. And then, Kieran, and then Tyson, the next morning, Tyson talks about his leg is really sore. He thinks he has a thigh injury. And then it'll hurt him in any swimming challenges. Do they know what's going, like, how did he know swimming challenge? That was interesting.
I didn't even put that together. I thought he was just counting himself out to us.
Yeah,
not necessarily predicting the future.
Like, how did you know that like he was going to be swimming?
I was also really surprised he was hurt, because we hadn't heard that after the challenge in the last episode. We hadn't heard any mention of it in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And Nico, as we hear later on, quickly tells him, well, medical cleared you. You don't have an injury.
Which also I have a really big issue with. I think that's a shitty thing to do, especially if you're letting Chappies lie about their food. Then what?
But Kieran is excited. He's motivated. He knows he has to win this challenge. The time is now, and he feels like the day is his.
Yes.
And I really thought he might win this challenge because he was hyping us up before it started.
Yeah. But you know who's the most hype? Our friend Chappies with the "This is Sparta" and the kick. What? That was so funny. Like, I truly was like in shock. I was like, oh, okay, Chappie, sure. And then we get to the immunity where, Tyson talks about his injury again. Anella is like, yeah, I want it.
And that's when Nico really delivered. Well, everybody wants to win immunity, Anella.
I'm telling you, like, Nico plays favorite.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, Nico, you have to stop. Like, you're everyone's host, not just Chappie and Nicole's host. And then, Chappie's like, well, they're going to have to fight for it. Oh, my God, which I loved. When Chappie's was giving the necklace back, I think he said they're going to have to fight for it. And then it's a swimming challenge, Jason, which I wonder who wins.
Not just is it a swimming challenge. It is a jumping, running over balance beam. This was such a complicated challenge that as soon as we heard it described to us, I knew Chappie's was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
He checks all the boxes of what it takes to win this challenge. You swim out, you climb up a crate, you jump off and grab a key, you go across the balance beam with a key, and then do the puzzle at the end. I actually thought this puzzle looked really difficult. I did not understand how it worked. Even the second time watching it, I don't think I would have been able to complete that puzzle.
No, I mean, slide puzzles are like my nemesis. Like, they had a few even on The Amazing Race, and I was like, if this ever happens, I'm losing. Like, there's no way. Like, I would break the puzzle and be like, I'm just gonna move the pieces, because it's incredibly hard. And on top of that, like, again, I'm so frustrated for Nicole that, like, the fact that she had to try at least 3 times, maybe 4, maybe more, like, versus like a Chap versus everyone else, right? That
Who
tried
got it the
once.
first time? Yeah.
Like, it's BS. Like, I just don't think it's fair. Like,
And
I
in some
don't.
and in something like this, that key should have been at a different height based on their height. So it should have been the same jumping distance for each one of them
Yeah.
respectfully. And this was not the case.
I mean, you saw, right? Like Nicole, like the first jump, she wasn't even close. Like, and you could tell she's like had outstretched her hand and
Yeah,
everything, but like it's just that is so incredibly hard. And like I just don't think it's fair. I truly don't.
I don't either.
Yeah. So I just didn't think that was cool. Like it's just it's not fun to watch. Like I said, I just, it's like I want it's not anything against Nicole. Like she's even not even someone I want to win the game, but I don't think that it's right to like constantly have the women at such a severe disadvantage. Like Anesu is the last woman to win
Yeah.
immunity. And that was on a memory, right? Like or Kieran won. No, Anesu won that one.
And
No, Kieran won it. Sorry.
this is the final five, is what I was going to say. This
Yeah,
isn't pre-merge. If this was a pre-merge challenge and it was
exactly.
a tribe challenge, I would understand this more, that it's
Sure.
not leveled
Yes.
out. But there's 5 people left. Like you're trying to get a 1 in 4 chance of winning the game, and the challenges are so unfair. They're stacked to one person who I'm happy to see
Truly
win.
one person.
But
Yeah.
I feel really bad for someone like Nicole or anyone at that height competing against someone who's literally a foot taller than them. And the point of this challenge is to jump and extend your arm in the air to grab a key. Like Chappie could do this with his eyes closed.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like it just it was really hard to watch for me because like I said, it's not fun. I want it to be like competitive. I don't want it to be like one person runs out. And I think that's why people on Twitter are pretty pissed too. Because again, it's like the advantage for the white guy. It's just like it's annoying. Like for the jock white guy. Even though Chappies I don't think is like annoying in the same way, but still, it's just Anella. But also Anella did get the key
Yeah,
first.
he
I
did
want to
really well.
say that, yeah. But I think at the puzzle, unfortunately, it didn't work out. Or I think Chappies like swam faster than Anella. Because yeah, Chappies gets to the puzzle first. It's a slide puzzle where you literally have to slide balls to the right, like color matching. And there was like spokes, and you had to like make sure that the colored ball lined up with the color on the wood. Very hard puzzle.
And I practice slide puzzles.
Yeah.
And this was unlike any slide puzzle I've ever seen.
Very much that. And then they of course Nico, I think I've done it, and he does, and Chappies wins again, Jason.
No surprise. I was happy Chappies won.
Of course.
And after, when Nico's talking to them, he talks about Nicole, how she has the survivor fire inside of her that makes her keep trying. And I was just like, give me a break, dude. Like, don't make her feel good. Like, nothing Nico could say could boost her self-esteem in this moment.
Yeah, and he said to win is to never give up. No, she lost. This is a zero-sum game. You win or you lose. There is no in between. Like, she's not protected by like thousands of people. Again, I agree I really like what you said, Jason. If this was a tribe versus tribe and like Nicole tried her hardest, it would have been fine. But like, this is like to get to the money, to the final, to win. But it's fine because we know Nicole's not in trouble anymore. And then, Chappies, of course, you must feel a huge relief. Like, Mike, we get it, okay? We get it. And then, what's the food at camp? Of course, 6 cup of rice left, Nico. And then who said it? Chappies is busy catching immunity, not fish.
It was Kieran. This cracked me up.
Oh my god, which is not true, Kieran, because Chappie's the king, is catching everything you throw at him. You know what? Maybe he's Aquaman, and the fish and crabs just come to him. They just walk up.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it was this moment in the episode when Nico's like, you were in the wild coast. Look at how many fish are around in the water. Why is it Chappie's job to catch the fish? You go get crabs. You go get mussels.
And they just don't answer. He said, why aren't you fishing? No answer.
It reminded me, actually, even though in regards to an immunity idol in Survivor, like Edge of Extinction, when Rick Devens was like finding all these immunity idols. He was only able to do it because everyone else was so comfortable. They were just sitting back at camp. They weren't even looking. So of course Devens found all the idols because there was no competition. And I think it's the same way with Chappie's with the food. He's the only one doing it, and he's getting so nourished. And everyone else is just complaining about it at camp. And that is not how you win Survivor.
Exactly. Oh, it was just, I don't know. Like, I really hope that they do talk about it. Maybe we need to listen to a little bit of Exit Press as well. I think it'll come out soon. Because I just want to know about this food thing. It's why aren't they fishing? And now that Nico said it to their face, I really want to know. And then, Kieran and Tyson are talking, and they said, to Chappie's, you have the best resume. If you get to the end, you are going to win. Really blowing up his head. Do you think they're being honest?
I do think they're being honest, and I was so surprised in this moment. And I feel if they were being dishonest, they might have done it before the challenge, thinking we're going to make his head really big so he's overconfident and we can try to beat him. But in this situation, there's no reason for them really to appeal to him and acknowledge his gameplay. I think it was more of Kieran acknowledging and accepting his defeat, that he knew the writing was on the wall and there was nothing he could do. And because he's a fan of the game, he wanted to go out on good terms with Chappie's and not burn bridges.
Yeah, that's true too. I can see that. I do feel like the jury might be bitter, so that's why I don't know. But maybe Tyson won't be, and Tyson, like the game bot, will vote, like, if he's out, which looks like he will be. It's like he will be voted out for the person. He will be voting, for the person that deserves to win.
And I don't think Kieran would be bitter. I think he's going to approach the game and vote who played the best, is what I think. I would be really surprised if he was bitter.
I mean, he does say that if I go out, I'm going to, make sure they vote for who I want. So that's why I didn't know what that meant. But poof.
Yeah.
And then, Kieran, and then Kieran and Tyson are also saying, Tyson says, I think it's between Kieran and I now because we're attached at the hip, which is true. They're very much the package deal. It has to be one of them. And they're, I believe, playing the best game, the two of them together. I know two people can't win, but together are truly playing the best game because and it sucks that it comes down to challenges, which is what we're mad at Big Brother about, right? Stop with the challenges, make it so where everyone can win. So I do think that they got screwed by the challenges, but they know is the point. And then Anella and Nicole are talking whether, is it Kieran before Tyson? Because and then Nicole says, is Tyson faking his injury or is it for real?
I loved that she is thinking Tyson might be faking them out and trying to advance another day so he could win the challenge.
Yeah.
I also appreciated in this conversation that they're like, we did it. We're making the final three. We just have to vote right tonight. Yeah.
It was amazing. Like I said, and they're right? They probably are going to win it. Anella does think that, hey, they might try to sway Nicole, but it's not in her best interest to vote him out. So it doesn't matter.
And that's when Anella tells us how he's playing this game with cards up and that he has no problem telling Kieran and Tyson that he's voting for them. Yeah. And I feel that in Anella's mind, he's doing this to be like, look at this game I'm playing. I'm so honest. I might have been a flip-flopper, but now I'm telling the truth. And he's really trying to get those jury votes by being so upfront with Kieran that he's voting out tonight.
Yep. And then it's pretty upfront from there. I don't know that production is trying to hide it so much, which I truly do appreciate because Kieran has so much fire. It's amazing. Because Kieran's I made Anella look like a massive fool. And Nicole's just too rigid for me to move. And Chappie's hates me, do you think Chappie's hates Kieran? I don't think so.
I agree with you and disagree with Kieran. I was surprised we didn't see Kieran go to Chappie's and be like, listen, let's put our differences aside. And I wouldn't have been surprised if Kieran offered up Tyson because Kieran's there to win the individual game. Oh, there's, like you said a few minutes ago, there's only one winner. And Kieran, I feel Chappie's would have been open to voting out Tyson.
Like I said, I think that Chappies is pretty open to anything. Like, at least that's what the vibe he gives
Yeah.
off, where he's very fluid. He's like, it's Sandra, right? Anyone but me. How do I like get through this? But I just wonder that like in Kieran's mind, like it wasn't happening. Because I think it could be that Kieran could have done a whole let me live another day moment, but that's so hard to go into your number one ally like that, because like do you lose Tyson's vote then in the jury?
I
I
think
don't
no.
think so. Yeah.
That
I think I would have, if you like get some, if it's between you and I and you like flip on me, I think I would have still voted for you because like you're my friend and like it was between us anyway.
Yeah, and because I think Tyson would want Kieran to win and
Yeah.
understand that he's making this sacrifice
Yeah.
for his
Yeah.
best
Yeah. Yeah.
interest, because he could claim it
Exactly.
as his move. And Tyson was just
Mhm.
voting. Tyson didn't vote for Kieran, but he would have just been voting with the numbers. And
Mhm.
Kieran could have said, I got Chappies. I got Nicole
Yeah,
to do
them
it.
to flip. Yeah. 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 That's true
And I think
too.
the jury would have respected it. I mean, like, oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
Kieran's the best ever. He made this move. He turned on his friend, because that's what we always hear about, Wendell and Dom. If Dom would have flipped on Wendell and taken him out at this exact moment, Dom probably would have won Ghost Island.
Mhm. I do think that like it's incredibly hard, but like you gotta sometimes make these hard flips. And I think in this current moment in Survivor South Africa, right, where like the end game is kind of clear right now, where you kind of know everyone's loyalties and you're just like X is Y, Y is here. Okay, got it. And like this is kind of where things are. I personally can't imagine like you try no, at least not trying to get Tyson on the chopping block.
And I think Tyson would, if that happened to him and Kieran flipped and he joined the jury, Tyson would have done everything in his power to ensure that Kieran got every single vote, because he would respect his friend's game and know they're going to be friends on the outside. But this was a short-term decision, because if it was us, Sasha, and you flipped on me in this moment, I would guarantee everyone would vote for you.
Yeah, and I think I would have done the same for you. Like, I think I would have been like salty, but then I would have been like, no, but because it's either that you go out fifth and I go out fourth, cool, or you go out fourth and I go out fifth. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, we're both going out. So if you can live another day and you flip on me, like, fine. Like that's how I would see it, at least.
And then you'll just have to take me on a vacation for making sure you got all the jury votes.
I got you. And hopefully the weather doesn't play any issues there. And then Kieran, I think, does end up asking Anella, like, is it me? And Anella says, like, I'm gonna play cards up, or you are gonna go out. I'm sorry. I love that Anella says, like, ooh, it's my move.
This made me roll my eyes so dramatically that he's still talking about his resume, his moves. This was not his move. This is the best decision for him, for Nicole, and for Chappies, all individually. He did not guide them to vote out Kieran like he did in the last episode when he botched his own move.
Exactly. Even if with the Santini drama, even if he would have still voted against them, it would have been his move. Oh my, this is not your move. This is more that you're just like, I made such a big mess. Let me clean it up, is what happened.
And I just hope that Anella gets the final tribal and starts to list this as one of his moves, and Kieran just slams the door in his face and said, no, this is not your move. I would love to see something like that happen.
Yeah.
I want to see the drama at Final Tribal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, the jury is live. Like, it is wild. So I hope that they bring it, and I hope production rather maybe lets them and they show it all. That's what I'm hoping. And then we get the Kieran thing about like, I'm going to raise hell and convince every jury member to vote the way I want if, I'm on jury, which I'm like, what does that mean? Foreshadowing. And then Tyson and Kieran are crying. Jason, oh my God.
This was adorable. It broke my heart to see them have to like split up, and how they have forged such a strong bond out there on the island, becoming such good friends. And I hope they're still just as good friends today.
So yeah, because Tyson actually like tweeted, congrats on being the first person to make me cry. And he tagged
Oh,
Kieran in it. You're a legend. And then Kieran obviously said something really sweet. And then Kieran's mom, I think Kieran's mom, yeah, says you broke my heart, Tyson. Your loyalty and respect for Kieran was unbelievable. Consider yourself my son as well. We love you, Tyson.
wow.
All the best, praying for you.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Oh, it's just so nice. Like it's the most perfect thing ever, I want to say, because like wow, Kieran deserve, like I said, all the flower. These two deserve everything.
Yeah.
Like they have killed it. And like if it weren't for physical tasks, I think it would have been a little bit more even. Physical challenges, sorry, I mean. Because then we get to tribal. And Anella, sorry, I want to also know Anella laughing, Jason. Because he's saying, haha, I still can't believe they're willing to vote with me, and I'm going to have 0 votes cast against me.
In that moment, I thought there was this much of a chance that they were all voting for Anella because he was so cocky, so arrogant.
So arrogant.
And I would have loved to see the votes turn against him, which he said, I'm a fan of the game. If they do blindside me, respect to them.
Just seriously.
He would be so bitter. He would have been so bitter. Let's, don't pretend.
Oh my God. He would have been like, remember Paul?
Yeah.
Warda's food sucked anyway.
Yeah. I also want to say, I think it's not just the physical challenges that put Kieran and Tyson at such a disadvantage, but about how transparent and obvious they were, that they were an unbreakable bond. Not once in this game did either of them say, I will vote for the other person. And I think if they would have cast some seeds of doubt early in the merge, they wouldn't have been like targeted as such a dynamic duo. And they were just so tight. There was nothing they could do then at final 8, final 7 to like show that they had split up, unless they got in like a fake fight and pretended to get in an argument, but still nobody would have bought it.
No, I agree with you as well on that, because I think there could have been a way where they almost isolated, right? And Nesu, Santini, and Chappie from old Vuna, right? I think it was 3-3 split. And I think, because in my heart at least, and I could be wrong, believe that Anesu was with them until she wasn't. And Chappie's, I think for sure was with them because they saved him. And Santini actually really wanted to be part of that group more than any other group. So that's why I agree with you that I think that, like I said, absolute power like got them a little bit too big-headed, and it's so hard when they just didn't like Chappie's and Santini, so it's hard to like then go out of your way to like get anywhere with people you don't like,
especially when you're on Survivor and they're depleted, they're not sleeping, they're not
eating.
Like, this is hard to do in real life. Like when you and I are in a room together, it's hard for us not to hang out together and to think like, how can we not seem as a duo?
And we literally have to tell ourselves, okay, we're gonna go talk to other people now.
So I get it. I understand how Tyson and Kieran were pegged to be this duo, this target, but I just wish they would have painted a different picture. And maybe early on in the merge, they could have, as a plan, had fake conversations that they wanted to target each other.
Yeah.
Because even that, like one seed of doubt, I think could have given Anella a glimmer of hope that they might turn on each other.
Yeah.
He's the one that told us they will never vote against each other.
No. And right, like learning from the cookout how who in such a small space have never been seen together until like a few episodes ago, versus so like to me, how do you do that? Where to say like, let's only meet at dawn, we're only gonna meet at this time, whatever, I don't know, pick a time and like be like, this is the only time we're gonna meet and strategize, and then like every other time, we gotta be in groups and figure it out, and like have like someone else. To me, like the cookout has changed the game, right, in that way, where how is an alliance and that never talk to each other, just like make it through like that. But to me, they needed, you're right, something like that, because when they get to tribal, I looked at jury again, Jason, and I'm like, this is Nicole's squad. Like I really feel like she might win.
I hear where you're coming from. I understand that perspective, but I think Chappie's is going to have such a story to tell, or Tyson. I think Either one of them
Oh,
will win the
yeah.
game if they're a final tribal with Anella and Nicole. And even though Nicole and Anella might be better friends
Mm-hmm.
with the jury, they've never had their backs against the wall and really had to fight
Yeah.
and claw to get to the end of this game, like Chappie's had. And like Tyson did early in the merge, they were the minority. They made that big blindside, playing the idol
Mm-hmm.
on Chappie's to get the numbers. So I just feel they're both able to articulate their games better than
Yeah.
Nicole will, because these people are fans. We know Ward is a fan. We know Amy's a fan. We know Rainier is a fan. They're going to vote. They want the best winner for their season that people will
Exactly.
remember them by.
Yeah. No, yeah, very much agree with that. And then, and you know, Chappie's gives Nico, I think says, right, 6 challenges wins, 4 immunity. Nico, chill, bro. Like, oh my God. Like, I will say I was really irritated by, not,
Mhm.
I don't think irritated is too strong, but I was like a little irked by like this whole situation because, you know, Chappie's does the whole, oh, it's life and death for me if I don't win, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, Kieran is also talking about, well, Chappie's was the vote, but here we are. And, you know, we thought his hot streak would come to an end because we didn't think someone could just win out like this. But here we are. He's hot and it's not going to end currently, which I appreciate them talking about this because, like, production, like, you got to fix your challenges a little bit. And then, Jason, it's food time.
Nico is bringing it. He's like the 21st castaway on this season. He is in the mix with them, asking all these questions. Well, like, how is Chappie nourished?
Yes.
How is he doing this? Talk about the pillars of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You're outwitting, so you can outplay them.
Yeah.
And he was like, really, I felt he like turned on Nicole at Tribal Council. And he had been like lifting her up so much. And he's like, well, you only have 1 pillar. You need the other 2.
Yes. And that's another thing where I didn't understand, where he is giving Chappie's like everything, right?
Everything.
Where one day they talked about food, and this is a genius move on Tyson's part, because he says, yeah, Chappie's is killing it. And he's more food than everyone else. But then he stopped complaining and said, you know what? I think Chappie should explain it. I think that's really smart, because, you know, people are already pissed at Chappie's in the jury, like Warda, and Warda shared with everyone, I'm sure, on jury what's going on.
Yeah.
So let him just like keep talking about it instead of you coming off as bitter and like whiny, right? So I love that part where you know, he's kind of letting Chappie's talk, and I think Chappie's like said stuff which I wasn't super like, I wouldn't be so moved by. I will say, to me, Nico saying, why aren't y'all doing it's more impactful than
to the jury.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, because Chappie's is kind of like, well, I have hands, I have a brain, and I'm going to Chappie's diner. Nothing is stopping them from catching crabs and mussels.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Kieran, I don't know if it was right after that, but Kieran goes in to be like, well, everyone knows I am the calorie counter, the master of counting calories.
Yes.
And Chappie's is burning more calories to catch all this food than he is by eating that 1 crab leg or that, you know, those few mussels. And it doesn't balance out.
Yeah. But he has a bunch of crabs. It is not just one that this man is eating, because we've seen the amount of mussels and crabs he's eating. So this is where I just Chappie's, you know, because again, I think this is Chappie's job, where he literally like is a speaker, right? Is a motivational coach or speaker. So, you know, he goes on this whole thing where like, this is exactly a difference. Like, I haven't given up, you have, blah, blah, blah. Again, I think if I am annoyed at someone and they're going on these rants, I'm gonna be like, I don't care. Right? Like, it doesn't sway me. Instead, I think Chappie should have been like, but you can do it too. And like, if you're saying I'm losing the calories I'm burning by, you know, catching it, then why is it such a big deal that I'm eating?
Instead of saying, well, that's the difference between us. I approach life to take advantage of opportunities, and you don't want to give the energy to do something. That is, like you said, so condescending. And I don't think Chappie's planned on it being heard in such a condescending way.
No, I really don't think so. I think that, again, this is how he talks because he's so matter of fact. Like, this is the type of work he does where he's like, you know, like, there's 2 types of people in this world. Like, he's very much that, which I understand. I think in life, it makes a little bit more sense to say, you know, sometimes you got to push through. But I think in Survivor, you just got to always be making your case. And at this point, you got to say, then why is this such a big deal?
And at this point in Tribal, I actually got kind of confused because Nico was like, so Kieran, if you're a big threat, you're going home tonight, right? What about Tyson? Aren't you just as much of a threat? Explain this to me.
I am so angry because it's shitty. Like, it's just a stupid thing to do because Tyson says, yeah, I'm in the same boat, but because I've had the most votes cast against me this season. I did not realize that. So, wow, Tyson, good job on dropping that quickly. But then he says, but I have an injury. But medical cleared you, right?
Oh.
But why? If you let, because also Chappie lied about the plate in front of everyone at Tribal. So if that is allowed, why is Tyson not lying about an injury allowed?
No, I agree. And I forgot about that when Chappie said we unfortunately had to share the food. And you see Warda be like, unfortunately, like what?
Exactly.
And I think Warda heard it as I unfortunately was with Anella. Not I think so. Had to share the food.
Yeah. I think she just, again, any reason to not like him and roll her eyes at him, especially when it comes to food, because we got a lot of cuts to Warda.
Yeah,
I want to say, yeah, like makeup looked on point, like just everything. She looked amazing. But yeah, so I just felt like this was very unfair to Tyson. It's been unfair to people in the past. We brought this up time and time again, but like I just don't think it's fair. Or is it that they're trying to save their ass, just saying like, you're cleared by medical? But to me, this could have been a byline, right? Like Tyson like has been actually cleared by medical, but we don't want to interfere with the game, so we're not going to bring it up, right? Like, say that's fine. Say something like that in like a, like a subtitle or something.
Yeah.
But like, I don't appreciate, like, this was Tyson's game, and you just blew up his game for what?
And like, just because Tyson is cleared by medical doesn't mean he's 100%. They just think
he could still be hurting.
He's healthy enough to compete, and he doesn't have an injury that's making him go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is. He's still banged up, and his leg probably still really hurts, and he was injured. And they just
you see there's something like on his thigh, like there's wrapping on it. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't fair to Tyson or anyone that they've been doing this to. Or if you're gonna do that, then air Chappie's out too, to be like, Survivor wouldn't do that.
Well, especially because after this, I had got ahead of myself a few minutes ago when Nico is asking Nicole about the pillars.
Yeah.
And how you do so well in the challenges. But what about outwitting? What about outplaying people? And I felt really bad for Nicole. She's like, I am playing this game the way I have been for 35 days. With integrity, with honesty. I'm telling the truth. And I don't want to outwit people.
And I don't, I'm playing with, what did he say? Yeah, she said, sorry, with integrity. And that's it. Honesty, which I was like, to me, you might lose my jury vote if this is what you talk about. Like, I am not one that loves when people say honesty, integrity. Who cares?
At least she did say, I have other strengths. I've excelled in other
which is good. Which
so
is correct. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know about you, Jason, but I feel like I would be really taken aback if the host is talking to me like that, and being like, what do you have to offer? Like, what are your other pillars?
Especially right after this, when he's like, well, outwitting isn't just making blindsides, Nicole. It's about outwitting your opponents to get food when they're not eating, to look for idols when they are sleeping. And he went on this little rant. And if I was Nicole, I would have probably like yelled back at him.
Yeah.
I'd be like, if you want to play the game, Nico, join us. Come back to Tribal tonight, or come back to camp tonight.
Yeah.
He is really interfering.
Like I said, like a lot of I don't 100% agree with this, but like there have been a lot of tweets about like production is loving Chappies, and like there was absolutely no reason to say like, well, who is outwitting Chappies? Like, why? Because one, I want to make it clear that I don't believe that it is like the first time when Chappies didn't get caught, that is outwitting. Because like we talked about how amazing that was, that he was eating, he figured out a hack, right? Versus now everyone knows it. He's pissing people off. So I don't know that he's outwitting. I think he's still outplaying them because he, like you said, learned fishing from Marisha, and has then like used that to kind of talk work for himself. And I agree that why not take any bit of advantage that you can get? That's what he said. So I can jump a little higher, swim a little longer. He's, again, I 100% agree with Chappies on that, but I just think that it's weird because a jury, I think, hates him for it. And I don't, like, to me, or maybe that's the outplay part where he's not outplaying so well.
Especially then when Nico says right back to Nicole, oh, if you only had one more crab leg. That was so uncalled for, I thought. He's the host. He's supposed to be unbiased.
Yeah, and if it had said to Tyson would have said stuff back. Because Tyson drags Nico. Tyson and Kieran drag Nico, I feel. Where they're like, you said you wanted this, right? Here you go. Like, whatever last tribal they said.
And if Nico would have said that to Anella probably would have said, well, he didn't share.
Yeah.
I wasn't offered a crab leg. Why would I eat one? And something like that. I think he would have been really, like, confused at Nico coming at him so strong. But Nicole played it like a champ. She did not let that bother her, because it would have visibly bothered me if I was in her shoes.
I think I would have rolled my eyes or been like, okay. Like, or I think, you know what? I wish power dynamics are hard, right? He's the host of the show. Like, you don't want production mad at you, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I wish there was a way that, she could have been like, yeah, but I hope the jury understands that, I don't, want to, like, hurt my whole tribe for, me jumping a little bit higher. Like, it's just not fair to me, or, some version of that. Because I don't think Nico gives a shit about fair. So, some version of that where, like, I don't want to hurt everyone, or something like that. That's what I would have liked a little bit better. Yeah. So yeah, it was just, I do think that it's not Chappie's fault that all of this is happening, but I do think that because of just how production, Nico, whatever, is handling everything, he's like getting the brunt of it, and he shouldn't. I really don't think it's like Chappie's fault. He's just like taking advantage of the system. But as people of color, we know how that is. And I'm just kidding. I like Chappie's. But so then the funniest part, finally we get some comedic relief, because then it says, Chappies, you have individual immunity. This man just starts getting up and go.
He's like, oh, I just get ahead of everything in life.
Oh my God, he's so wild. And then Kieran says, no, like, don't get rid of me that fast. Like, chill out a little. And then did you see Warda and Sean? Like, what was going on there? Yeah. Sandy was like just laughing at Chappies, which I appreciate. Like, that was pretty obvious, but yeah, I didn't really understand again what's going on with Warda and Sean. There, like, I just wanted to know, like, give me some, subtitles as to what they were saying.
And then everyone went to vote, and I have to admit, I was actually surprised at who Tyson and Kieran voted for. I thought they were going to vote for Anella.
I know. I don't know. Why do you think they picked Nicole? Is it just like they were like, we already did it, so
I guess it really didn't make sense to me. It was like they were both just throwing away their votes.
Yeah. But again, like, for me, it's like always be closing, literal, like, and it's just, I don't know. Like, I felt like they could have tried a little harder. I think Chappies is smart and sees a better outcome with Anella and Nicole. But I think I wonder if, if Kieran would have been like, but look at everyone that Nicole has. Like, I think we're underestimating her. Chappies, like, let's try to figure this out. Something. I think there could have been a way, but I don't know. Poor guy. Kieran's voted out. I'm really sad. Like I said, I really do think that Tyson, Kieran, and Chappies deserve to be final 3 and battle it out. Like, I really wish that. But
yeah, I agree. And I thought it was, like, adorable when they were reading the votes and Tyson was, like, on the ground holding Kieran's legs. And it showed that they are really boys. They've really bonded. And Kieran's words to Tyson, like, go win this. Like, you got this, man. And I just, like, loved seeing their friendship until the very end.
If Tyson makes it to the end, Tyson's winning, period. Over anyone. It doesn't matter. Like, Kieran and Warda are gonna fight like hell for Tyson. So they can't let Tyson get to the end, which is so annoying.
And as we talked about earlier, when Tyson said he's received the most votes this season, he's also canceled the most votes by successfully playing idols. And so that is a big thing on his resume.
Period. I agree. And that's why I'm praying that Tyson can somehow win immunity next week so that Chappie. Oh, well, I guess Chappies will go out. I just want Nicole or Nella to go out.
Well, and we don't know what's going to happen. There's like 4 people left in the game. There's 2 days or 3 days left.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Is it going to be a final 3? I think it's going to be a final 2. I saw somebody on Twitter said that they're going to do the jury removal challenge, which we saw on Co Wrong. We saw on South Africa season 6. I just don't know. I'm really curious because there's 2 more episodes left. Like next week is not the finale.
No. Yeah. So I guess so do you think that they won't, I see what you're saying, like, because they won't, 4 to 3 could be a finale.
Yeah.
2-hour finale. I don't know. I've not looked at the timing. But yeah, I wonder if then it's like, is it 3 to 2, the finale? Who knows?
That's what I want to see because I think the rounds of 4 when they're voting is the most exciting round of Survivor when could be a 2-1-1.
Yes.
Which I just love seeing, and it happens so rarely throughout Survivor history.
Yeah. And like I said, these tribals have been off the chain. So like, I hope that they've just, we get more fireworks. And I don't think Tyson's going to go down like without a fight. There's no way. So I somehow, some way, I really want Tyson and Chappies to make it, even though they're at the opposite ends. But come on, Chappies, like,
it would be a battle royale if it was the 2 of them in the final 2. It would be the most exciting and suspenseful final tribal we have seen in ages.
Oh, God. It's okay. We are here with our revisionist fan fiction. We love it.
But I'd be happy with either one winning.
Oh, 100%. But that's, I think, what I'm getting a little stressed about because, like, at first I was like, most of my faves are here. They're all going to win. Now I'm like, I don't think I want Nicole to win. And I'm really stressed.
Nor do I want Anella to win.
Yeah. But if Anella wins, like, I would just think it's so funny and silly. Like, I don't think I'd be, like, pissed, but, like, I think I'd be a little salty if Nicole wins.
I would too. I've been riding with Tyson all season. In the first episode, he was on my winner pick list. So he's been giving it to us all season. And I think Chappies has been fighting from the bottom.
Yeah.
And he does deserve to win if he can win out and get there because that so rarely happens. Because he's been at the bottom the whole merge. Yeah.
I love that. So let's see. I can't wait for these next 2 episodes. And I loved also, I want to say Kieran just saying, I hope I'm in the upper echelon of players that never win, but he still root for. Duh. Hello. And we love you.
I loved hearing him say that. And also Chappie's final words when he voted him out saying, I underestimated you.
Yeah.
And Chappie so rarely shows that level of humility. And so I was really happy that he was respecting Kieran.
Exactly. Yeah. So it just overall was beautiful. And with that, Jason, what is your threat list? I know we've talked about it a lot already, so I don't know if you have any more.
Well, in order from first to fourth, I'm putting the greatest odds of winning at Chappie's because I think he can win out. And then Tyson, then Nicole, then Anella. What about you?
Yeah, interesting. I'm like, so for 1 and 2 are the same for me, where I think if Tyson gets immunity, Tyson, I think has a chance to win out. Because I think if Tyson wins immunity, he should tell Chappies, let's vote out one of the 2 because they're a duo and we'll screw ourselves if we don't. So that's why I can see Chappies still making it past, but we'll see. But yeah, so I think it's the same as yours, but I just feel like Nicole might have a slight edge. Like I might drop Nicole down from Anella, but then I think she still has a slight edge on Jury. I think her game-wise, no, but I think her relationships-wise, yes.
Yeah, and if they're both there at the end and Anella starts talking about how he had immunity once, I hope Nicole's like, well, not so fast. You only got that necklace because of me.
Because of me.
Because we heard it referenced tonight in Tribal Council. So I think it might be foreshadowing.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So what's most likely is that like it's Chappies, Anella, and Nicole at final 3, which is such a bummer. But oh well, what can you do? And with that, I'm so excited for the future of who's gonna win? My God. And with that, Jason, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @TheRealJO, where I'm posting about a lot of things reality TV, both US and international, including Big Brother 23, Tiffany Stan over here. I will fight you on the Twitter streets if you're going against her.
Shut up,
as well as the NFL, which is coming back this week. The Dallas Cowboys play Thursday night, and we have maybe a 20% chance of winning. So I'm feeling hopeful.
Hey, 20% better than 0. That's how it is. Yeah, and as for me, you can find me on Twitter at funsize_04. I talk all things reality TV and OU football now. So maybe you want to mute me on Saturdays. I understand. And I also on Wednesday or Thursday, it'll be out the new Love and Hip Hop wrap up, where I will be having Puya on, and we're gonna be talking about all this Mama D drama. Mike the Queen, I love her. She's so messy, but really all the moms, because Miss Judy is also there. And then I also cover Never Have I Ever with Chappelle, which will be out today, and today or tomorrow, actually, because we have a lot coming out today. So Never Have I Ever will be out with Chappelle as well, and you'll find Jason and I on the challenge today in a few hours. So if you're like, why are y'all wearing the same clothes? That's why. And with that, thank you so much, everyone. If you're listening to us on Apple, make sure you leave us some reviews. We hope for some 5-star reviews. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, make sure you follow us and like, comment, share this video. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe as well. And follow Silent Podcast for just more reality TV content, for some scripted TV, anime, movie. You got it. You want it, we got it. And with that, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Bye.